Hi, bonjour, bonjour, mes amis. C'est la prof Jessica. It's great to see you today. Today we're going to be working on 01.04 in French 1, and it's called Mes contacts, my contacts. In other words, my friends, people to communicate with, contacts that they have. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to work through lesson 01.04. All right, so bonjour, mes contacts. Kevin, if we remember the student who is foreign exchange in Paris, hasn't quite been here 1 month, and things are going really well for him. He has made new friends in the health club at school, and so far, he says life is very similar to, yet different from where he lives in Florida. We were chatting about our countries, and he shared that there are 50 states in the United States, but not all are attached to the mainland. This is very much like departments in France. Realizing that in less than 1 year, Kevin will go back to Florida, we thought that it would be a good idea to go over phrases that he can use to exchange contact information with all the new friends he makes during his stay in France. So as we continue your exploration of France with Kevin and Sophie, I encourage you to keep taking good notes on the note guide provided to you as you go through each lesson. Now remember, the note guide is the page before this, so make sure you have that handy. You can save it onto your files and follow along, or even better, you can print it out and write by hand. That's the best way to really catch and learn and acquire a world language. Let's go on to page 2. So mon adresse. One of Kevin's cousins in the United States collects stamps. How funny is it that he knew his email address but not his home address, even though he has visited him many times? Well, naturally, this can't happen on my watch, she says. We just had to practice that. So remember to use the note guide as you follow along. Select the image, so we'll look at the images and learn some of the words and phrases. First one, quelle est ton adresse? Quelle est ton adresse? Mon adresse est le. Mon adresse est le. Une rue. Une rue. Quelle est ton adresse mail? Quelle est ton adresse mail? Mon adresse mail est. Mon adresse mail est. Arrobas. Arrobas. Hopefully some of these may have looked familiar. There are some cognates in there. So additional vocabulary terms. Don't worry. There are true cognates, which are words that again look similar or the same in both languages and have the same meaning. Be sure to practice your pronunciation to sound like a native. So if we remember, adresse should look familiar, not spelled exactly the same, but they do look familiar and they sound very similar and they do mean the same thing. So as I read aloud, make sure you pause, try repeating, and then say it with me to see how well you sound compared. Here are some more cognates.
Une avenue,
Une avenue,
un boulevard.
un boulevard. Also said, I was sharing with Kevin that French is a language used around the world, but will vary from country to country and even from region to region. The also said section this section highlights variations in vocabulary, usage, or pronunciation among French-speaking countries. You won't be required to use these on the assessments, but please feel free to keep a list of them with your vocabulary from your personal use, or even to show them off to your presentational speaking and writing assignments. Kevin recognized the word email right away. It happens to be a borrowed word from the English when the French language made an adaptation to the word mail, but both words are used and sound the same. Now, Kevin did not recognize courriel, which is the French-Canadian version of email. They were super clever because courrier in French means mail, as in snail mail or stamped mail. See what they did to keep the English language from creeping into the French in Canada? If you guessed, they combined courrier and électronique to form the word courriel. Bravo! You are ready to win trivia night. À ton tour. So follow along. In the section below, you should be able to see some slides that practice your comprehension of these new words and phrases. If you're in class and live, make sure to come to class so that we can practice them together. Page 3. les chiffres et nombres français. It is so helpful to know numbers when you want to give someone your phone number, right? The health club members all stay in touch, plan meetings, and share ideas via text, of course. After our homework was done, we started practicing numbers in French. I thought we would start with les chiffres, or single digits, and then move to les nombres, which are anything 10 and above. I modeled them so Kevin could hear what they sound like. Remember to use the handy note guide that is provided to you in the previous page on this learning platform to follow along. So 0 to 9, we have les chiffres, and then anything above 10, we refer to as les nombres. Now here's a tricky one because if you remember, we do have false cognates, and this is a great example of a false cognate. While it looks like number, names, it does mean number. So sometimes we get that confused. But here we are in 0.
0, 0.
So we're actually going to do this just a little bit faster so we can practice in class, or you can refer to below to review. So here we have un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept, huit, neuf, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now, I hope that maybe, I know I said that's quite fast, but try to pause along the way, repeat after me, and realizing that right now you're just seeing the numbers, they will be spelled out before you. So check the Quizlet vocab sets, refer to those for spelling, and again for pronunciation. As we go below, à ton tour, remember that down below you will get some practice opportunities to check the skills you just learned for comprehension. Or come to class if you have live classes with me and we'll practice and review them together. Le pays, if we remember, le pays refers to the countries. So after his class of Histoire Géo, which he explained was social science in the United States, Kevin and I had a conversation about what mainland France is and how it is all organized. We have many departments, all numbered, but I still struggle to remember in which region they are all located. So teaching him about all this helped me too. So here we have l'hexagone et région. What do we learn about that? So how you don't have to be a geometry major to see why le pays de la France, the country of France, is called l'hexagone. And you spot the 6 equal sides. 3 border a sea or an ocean, and I can surf the Atlantic Ocean, sunbathe on the Mediterranean, and look for sea glass on the North Sea. The other 3 border countries are Belgium and Luxembourg to the east, Germany, Switzerland, and Italy to the east. Northeast and east, and Monaco, Spain, and Andorra to the south. France is actually the largest of all European countries and includes regions like states in the United States. We used to have 22 regions, but the number was reduced to 2016 to 18 regions, régions. Regions have their own identity as well as administrative powers and make decisions on roads, education, tourism, and economy. Let's take a look at that example of France. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So l'hexagone. And if you notice here, there are also some islands that are part of France. And here are some images of different places that you would see. You have the mountains, you have the Mediterranean or lakes and water, and then cities spread throughout. So let's look at les départements. There's also castles and hillsides, rivers, valleys. Le pays is divided into 101 départements, which, like counties in the United States, are their own administrative units. Each has a name and a number. Did you notice the license plates on cars when we walked to school? Paris is its own department with the number 75. That's why you see that number on most cars in Paris. Strasbourg is part of the Bas-Rhin department with the number 67. In addition, the department number serves as the first couple of digits of the local postcode. Right after the French Revolution in 1790, the whole idea of département was adopted to make the country stronger and more united. The thought was that they needed to be small and each of their capitals could be reached on horseback. They needed to be about the same size and were named after rivers, mountains, and valleys within them. Later, I will tell you why you need a boarding pass to reach 4 of the départements, régions. So self-check, come to class and we will review and self-check how we did and how well we understand. And you can go down below if you're doing this class asynchronously to practice some of the self-check. Pause along the way and review the slides below as you progress, as well as take notes on your note card. Mon âge. In the land of fromage, French for cheese, they say that âge does not matter unless you're come on, guess. Yes, unless you're a fromage. So age is âge. They are cognates. Should you want to ask someone their age, keep reading. Remember to use the handy note guide. Again, I'm going to reference that. So let's take a look at some of these images to learn more about these phrases, questions, and vocabulary words.
Tu as quel âge? Tu as quel âge?
An example is, tu as quel âge, Nicole?
J'ai en. J'ai en.
So in the sentence, you would put the age right in between j'ai and en. This is, I have so many years of age. J'ai 10 ans. J'ai 18 ans. J'ai 3 ans. So any age here. Remember to pause along the way, try repeating it to check for that pronunciation.
Il, elle, à quel âge? Il, elle, à quel âge?
We remember il refers to he, elle refers to she, and asking how old they are. Common is to put the name first in case we need reference as to who we're referring to. So grand-mère, grandmother, elle a quel âge? How old is she?
Il, elle, a. En. Il, elle, a. En.
Same situation, you put the number in between to describe the age of that person.
Mon ami. Mon ami.
Mon ami is for friend. Interestingly enough, as we see mon ami, regardless if it's female or male, we start with mon to say my. And then if we remember that E just means that if it's female, we include it at the end of the word ami for friend.
Tu as quel âge? Tu as quel âge?
Tu, if we remember the word tu refers to you, so here's that question. Tu as quel âge? And actually, I think that was, we already did the rotation. So good practice there. Note, Kevin, who would ever think of a single letter could be a word and one with more than one meaning? Well, that's the case for a, the word a, in the letter a, which is really a form of the verb to have, avoir. Avoir means to have. But wait, there's more. Add the accent grave, like in a, going down the stairs. That's how I will describe it. Down the stairs, and it means an at, in, at, and to. It can mean all three, well, depending on the context. Accents can change the meaning of a word. Both a, with the accent grave going down the stairs, and a, without the accent, will sound the same. So again, refer to à ton tour, the slides below to practice comprehension, or in class we will review it. Quel âge? Bottom line, we all know we can only ask someone's age when they are in the family, but about the same age as we are, or they are much younger, or it could be a breach of good manners. Is that going to stop Kevin and me from practicing how to ask how old someone is? No way. Today, Kevin met my sister's boyfriend, Eric, and his best friend, Laila. Kevin was curious about their ages, so I'm going to help him figure out how to ask about someone's age. Come on, let's figure it out together. Kevin, do you remember how to ask someone's name? Yes. I say, il s'appelle comment when asking a guy for his name, and elle s'appelle comment when asking a girl for hers. Now let's see if you can guess how to ask about their age. How would you ask me for Eric's age? Can you guess? Let's find out. Eric is the guy, so we would ask, il a quel âge? Il a quel âge? Now, remember, we're not asking Eric, we're asking about Eric. How would you ask me, Sophie, myself, for Laila's age? She is a girl, so we'll use elle a quel âge? Elle a quel âge? You figured it out, that il is used for a guy and elle is used for a girl. So you were quick to figure out French. Hopefully, maybe you were able to reference that and figure that out yourself as well. So recapping, now you can be curious about people and ask someone all kinds of questions about them. Here are the questions you know so far. Now, again, these questions are about them and not necessarily speaking directly to them. Like, you are how old, but he is how old? She is how old? Here are some examples. Il s'appelle comment? Elle s'appelle comment? Il habite où? Elle habite où? Il est de quelle nationalité? Elle est de quelle nationalité? Il a quel âge? Elle a quel âge? So note, does il seem strange looking? Is the first letter number 1? Or is that the lowercase letter L? Don't be fooled, that uppercase I likes to play tricks. So remember, in French, il is actually IL. They may look similar, and it means he. So let's review in class or use the slideshows below to see how well you understood. On explore encore. So, le Drôme. Let's learn more. Beautiful tropical type of places. So the 5 departments, regions, you and I need a boarding pass for our overseas. After the colonial times, overseas islands in the Pacific, Indian, and Atlantic Ocean stayed part of France. We used to call them the dom-tom, but now we simply call them Drôme. The name is the acronym for Département et Région d'Outre-mer, which is just as it represents, departments and regions overseas. The Drôme are Guadeloupe and Martinique, islands located in Caribbean, French Guiana, the only territory in South America to be a part of Europe, and Mayotte and Réunion, both found in the Indian Ocean. They may be overseas, but they are very much part of France as if they were on the mainland. Since we are so spread out, we win the time zone category with 12 time zones. It also means that when in France, you are really all over the world. La Corse et les Coms. Here are some other examples. Collective, collectivité d'outre-mer, COM, are more independent than the overseas departments and regions. There are a total of 5 collectives in Saint-Pierre et Miquelon. You will need a sweater because it is off the coast of Canada, but the other 4 are bathed in sunshine year-round. La Corse, one of the collectivités, collectivité, sits in the Mediterranean Sea, 100 miles from the coast of France. Though it's an island, it is still considered part of mainland France. The collectivity of Corsica is the most independent of all the overseas collectivities. There is a little known secret many are not aware of. The cola drink you have in the United States today was invented by a Corsican chemist who first called it vin Mariani. So let's do a self-check in class, or we'll refer to it. You can refer to it down below in the slides to practice. Savoir écrire, c'est important. So as we conclude this lesson 101.04, mes contacts, make sure to come to class in order to review how you've done, because writing is just as important, or refer to below the slides to practice your comprehension. All right, mes amis, last part of this is going to be a quiz. So make sure to review and practice before you take the quiz. Okay, so have a bonne journée, a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Au revoir.